All right, happy Friday, everybody. Today we are going to continue our application problems and with our interest formulas. So there's one formula that you need to have memorized, and that's this formula right here. This will not be given to you on a quiz or a test, so you actually have to have it memorized. Okay, so we have the, what it stands for is the amount equals the principal times 1 plus the rate over the number of terms compounded to our exponent. So basically we're going to use these problems for bank situations. If I have so much money and I have this certain interest rate and I compound it this many times, how much money do I make? Okay, so before we get there though, when we talk about the number of terms compounded, there's going to be different words that we see. So one of them is yearly. And yearly just means 1. Quarterly, think about quarters, right? That's going to be 4. Monthly, well, how many months are there in a year? 12. And if we have daily, then that's 365. So now what each part stands for, A stands for the total amount. Okay. P stands for the principal. Okay. Another word you might hear for this is initial. Okay, basically means it's the starting balance, so how much money you're starting in your account with. Another word you might hear is like a down payment. Okay, those are all means like the initial amount that you put down. The next one we have is the rate. Okay, it's very, very important that for the rate, it's in decimal form. And in order for it to be in decimal form, remember that you move 2 places to the left. N stands for the number of terms compounded. Okay, and that's what we did up here. Okay, that's the number of terms compounded is everything we wrote up there. And then the last one stands for time. Okay, so once again, you do need to have this equation memorized. Okay. And understand that what n is for the number of terms compounded. Okay, so the first example says you deposit $5,000 into a savings account. So here's that key word of deposit. Deposit means that's the initial amount. So I'm going to label that with a P. Find the balance after 5 years. So 5 years is our T for each situation. So the account pays 3.25% compounded quarterly. So first of all, let's change R into a decimal. So 0.0325. So you move the decimal twice to the left. And then quarterly means 4. Okay. So then our equation is A equals the initial amount, which was 5,000, 1 plus the rate, so 0.0325, all over the number of terms compounded. And then this is a common mistake we make. In the exponent, you need to make sure that you multiply it by the number of terms compounded times the years. Okay, a lot of times we forget to do this part right here. Okay, so make sure you multiply it by the number of terms compounded. So when you plug this into your calculator, you can plug it in all at once, but make sure that this is entirely in parentheses. And depending on the version of your calculator, if you have an older one, this needs to be in parentheses as well. If you have a newer calculator, it'll just move up to the exponent for you, and you can just do 4 times 5 in there. All right, so we plug this into our calculators. Make sure that when you're writing your final answer that you include a dollar symbol because we are working with money. And when you're working with money, we always round to 2 decimal places, right? I wouldn't say I have $5 then 1.25 cents. Okay, so we should get 5,878 and 38 cents. Okay. All right, so we're going to do the same exact example, but now the account pays 3% and it's compounded yearly. So the rate, move the decimal over 2 places to the left, and yearly just means 1. So A equals the initial amount, and then 1 plus the rate divided by the number of terms compounded, and then the number of terms compounded times the years. So once again, you're just going to plug this into your calculator. Make sure you're careful of parentheses. Include your dollar symbol and round to 2 decimal places. So you get $5,796.37. Okay, we're not going to go through all of C. We're just going to write down the rate and the interest compounded and daily. So the rate, move it over 2 places, so 0.0275. And then daily would be 365. Once again, you plug it into your equation and you compute the total amount. All right, let's move on to example number 2. So here you need to pay attention to the wording. It says you want to have $7,500 after 6 years. So that means you want the final amount to be $7,500. So that's A. Find the amount you should deposit. So the unknown is actually P this time. And then using the following situations. So we started with $7,500. Okay. Principal is the unknown. I want to know how much I initially have to deposit. 1 plus the rate as a decimal divided by the number of terms compounded, so that's 12. And then the number of terms compounded times the years. So one way I like to remember this is that as soon as I put the number of terms compounded here, I have to put it in the exponent as well. Okay. All right, so my suggestion to you when you plug this into your calculator, since we do sometimes make calculator mistakes, is to first do this part. Okay. And then do 7,500 divided by answer, which is second, and then the decimal. Okay. Which is second, and then the negative sign on your calculator, it says A and S above it. Okay, and then when you plug that into your calculator, you should get approximately $6,191.38. So like we talked about yesterday, make sure that these problems make sense. So if you are looking for the initial amount, that should be less than the total amount. Well, at least hopefully it would be, and you wouldn't be losing money. So just make sure that you guys are paying attention to what the problem is saying. All right, so same thing again. So we want $7,500. Principal, 1 plus the rate as a decimal. Quarterly is going to be 4. And then right away put that in the exponent times 6. Okay, so like I just said on the last problem, do this first in your calculator. And then do 7,500 divided by second negative sign. And this time you should get approximately $6,194.53. Okay, so just make sure you go through and get these values in your calculator if you didn't have a chance to do that while I was going over the lesson. You guys actually have the rest of the time to work on the homework, which is worksheet 21. Okay, there's quite a few word problems on there. I did look over and tried to cut out some for you guys, but I really do think we need to see every type of example. Plus, you guys do have the weekend to get it done. Okay. You can listen to music. You can have Music Friday as long as you hit play and put it away. If anyone sees you guys not doing your homework, then you don't get to listen to music. All right, so I hope you have a wonderful and safe weekend. Remember that it's daylight savings this weekend, so you get an extra hour of sleep. I'll see you guys Monday. Thank you.